Hey guys, can you hear me? Make sure this is working. Can you hear me okay? Alrighty. Hey Jake, how's it going? I'm doing this a little bit different. And I'm doing pretty good. Hello, cocktail. No, it's just I'm gonna have it to where people can see the chat when they're rewatching it. Wait for a few more people to get in here. We got about 10 right now. Y'all want to go ahead and start? Yeah, when they're not watching it live, they can actually see the chat. So, hey, mom. Y'all want to go ahead and get started? Jake, you're funny. What kind of truth bombs, Jake? Is it echoing or anything, guys? Okay. Yes, Book of Enoch, Stephanie. Have you watched part 1 and 2? Part 1 really doesn't have a whole lot because I read the beginning of the book. But if you want to start on part 2, well, if you want me to go ahead and just backtrack, Enoch was just describing heaven and how it looked and what he was able to see. And then right now we're on chapter 61. So you really didn't miss a whole lot, but I would recommend going ahead and watching part 1, or I'm sorry, part 2. After you watch this, you won't get lost. You're welcome. And we have Lucy's World 1013 in the house, Jake W., Stephanie Kempa, Coffee Bean, Indoor Ice Lacrosse will be back after his meeting. It says we have 14 watching. I'm not sure who else watching. I can only see the people in the chat. Truth bombs. Are you going to post a video, Jake? Okay. I'm sure I'll get a notification. Thanks, Jake. I'm pretty sure I'm subbed to Jake. I don't want to go off the screen, but I'll check here in a little. I'm pretty sure I am. I try to sub back to all my subs. Okay, and we have 12 watching now. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. We're on chapter 61. And it says you can reference Isaiah 27 for this chapter. And I saw in those days that long cords were given to those angels, and they took to themselves wings and flew, and they went towards the north. I asked the angel, saying to him, "Why have those angels who have cords taken flight?" And he said to me, "They have gone to take measurements." And there's an author's note here. There were no tape measures back in those days. Measurements were taken by a simple rope or stick. The rope may have knots placed in it. Usual measurement were based on a man's forearm, the length of an arm, or the span of the arms. In this case, the measurements based those of the Lord or his appointed angel, encoded secret knowledge. And the angel who went with me said to me, "These shall bring the measurements of the righteous and the cords of the righteous to the righteous, and they may rely on the name of the Lord of spirits forever and ever. The elect shall begin to dwell with the elect, and those are the measurements which shall be given to faith, which shall strengthen righteousness. And these measurements shall reveal all the secrets of the depths of the earth, and those who have been destroyed by the desert, and those who have been devoured by the beasts, and those who have been devoured by the fish of the sea, that they may return and rely on the day of the elect one. For none shall be destroyed before the Lord of spirits, and none can be destroyed. And who all dwell in heaven received a command and power, in one voice, and one light like to fire. And they blessed him with their first words, and exalted and praised him in their wisdom. And they were wise in utterance and in the spirit of life. And the Lord of spirits placed the elect one on the throne of glory, and he shall judge all the works of the holy above in heaven. And in the balance their deeds shall be weighed. And it references 2 Timothy. And when he shall lift up his face to judge their secret ways according to the word of the name of the Lord of spirits, and their path according to the way of the righteous judgment of the Lord of spirits, then they shall all speak with one voice, and bless and glorify and exalt the name of the Lord of spirits. And he will summon all the host of heavens, and all the holy ones above, and the host of God, the cherubim, seraphim, and opim. I do not know these words. And all the angels of power, and all the angels of principalities, angels that rule over other angels, and the elect one, and the other powers on the earth and over the water. On that day shall rise one voice, and bless and glorify and exalt in the spirit of faith, and in the spirit of wisdom, and the spirit of patience, and in the spirit of mercy, and in the spirit of judgment and of peace, and in the spirit of goodness, and shall all say with one voice, Blessed is he, and may the name of the Lord of spirits be blessed forever and ever. And all who do not sleep above in heaven shall bless him. And all the holy ones who are in heaven shall bless him. And all the elect who dwell in the garden of life, and every spirit who is able to bless, and glorify, and exalt, and praise your blessed name. And to the extent of its ability, all flesh shall glorify, and bless your name forever and ever. For great is the mercy of the Lord of spirits. He is long-suffering, and all his works and all that he has created has revealed to the righteous and elect, in the name of the Lord of spirits. Thus the Lord commanded the kings, and the mighty, and the exalted, and those who dwell on the earth, and said, Open your eyes and lift up your horns, if you are able to recognize the elect one. And the Lord of spirits seated him on the throne of his glory, and the spirit of righteousness was poured out on him. And the word of his mouth slays all the sinners, and all the unrighteous are destroyed from in front of his face. And in that day all the kings and the mighty and the exalted and those who hold the earth shall stand up and shall see and recognize that he sits on the throne of his glory, and that righteousness is judged before him, and no lying words is spoken before him. Then pain will come on them as a woman in labor, and she has pain in giving birth when her child enters the mouth of the womb, and she has pain in childbirth. And one portion of them shall look at the other, and they shall be terrified, and they shall look downcast, and pain shall seize them, when they see that Son of Man sitting on the throne of his glory. And the kings and the mighty and all who possess the earth shall bless and glorify and exalt him who rules over all, who is hidden. For from the beginning the Son of Man was hidden, and the Most High preserved him in the presence of his might, and revealed him to the elect. And the congregation of the elect and the holy shall be sown, and all the elect shall stand before him on that day. And all the kings and the mighty and the exalted and those who rule the earth shall fall down before him on their faces, and worship and set their hope on that Son of Man, and petition him and supplicate for mercy at his hands. Nevertheless, that Lord of spirits will so press them that they shall heavenly go out from his presence, and their faces shall be filled with shame, and the darkness grows deeper on their faces. And he will deliver them to the angels for punishment, to execute vengeance on them, because they have oppressed his children and his elect. And they shall be a spectacle for the righteous and for his elect. They shall rejoice over them, because the wrath of the Lord of spirits rests on them, and his sword is drunk with their blood. The righteous and elect shall be saved on that day, and they shall never again see the face of the sinners and unrighteous. And the Lord of spirits will abide over them, and they shall eat, lie down, and rise up with the Son of Man forever and ever. The righteous and elect shall have risen from the earth, and cease to be downcast, and they will have been clothed with garments of life. And these shall be the garments of life from the Lord of spirits. They shall not wear out, nor will your glory pass away from before the Lord of spirits. In those days shall the mighty and the kings who possess the earth beg him to grant them a little respite from his angels of punishment to whom they were delivered, that they may fall down and worship before the Lord of spirits, and confess their sins before him. And they shall bless and glorify the Lord of spirits, and say, Blessed is the Lord of spirits, and the Lord of kings, and the Lord of the mighty, and the Lord of the rich, and the Lord of glory, and the Lord of wisdom. And every secret is revealed in front of you. Your power is from generation to generation, and your glory forever and ever. Deep and innumerable all your secrets, and your righteousness is beyond reckoning. We have now learned that we should glorify and bless the Lord of kings, and he who is king over all kings. And they shall say, Would that we had a right we had a respite to glorify and give thanks and confess our faith before his glory. And now we long for a little respite, but find it not. We are driven away and obtain it not, and light has vanished from before us, and darkness is our dwelling place forever and ever. Because we have not believed in him, nor glorified the name of the Lord of spirits, but our hope was in the scepter of our kingdom, and in our own glory. In the day of our suffering and tribulation, he does not save, and we find no respite for confession that our Lord is true in all his works. And in his judgments and his justice and his judgments have no respect of persons. We pass away from before his face on account of our works, and all our sins are judged in comparison to righteousness. Now they shall say to themselves, our souls are full of unrighteous gain, but what we have gained does not prevent us from descending from the midst of our worldly gain into the torment, burden of hell. And after that their faces shall be filled with darkness and shame before that Son of Man, and they shall be driven from his presence, and the sword shall abide before his face in their midst. Thus spoke the Lord of spirits. This is the ordinance and judgment with respect to the mighty, and the kings, and the exalted, and whose possess the earth before the Lord of spirits. And other forms I saw hidden in that place. And I heard a voice of the angel saying, these are the angels who descended to the earth, and revealed what was hidden to the children of men, and seduced the children of men into committing sin. And in those days Noah saw the earth, that it had sunk down, and its destruction was near. And he arose from there, and went to the ends of the earth, and cried aloud to his grandfather Enoch. And Noah said 3 times with an embittered voice, hear me, hear me, hear me. And I said to him, tell me what it is that is falling on the earth, that the earth is in such evil plight and shaken, lest perchance I shall perish with it. And there was a great disturbance on the earth, and a voice was heard from heaven, and I fell on my face. And Enoch, my grandfather, came and stood by me, and said to me, why have you cried to me with a bitter cry and weeping? A command has gone out from the presence of the Lord concerning those who dwell on the earth, that their ruin is accomplished, because they have all learned the secrets of the angels, and all the violence of Satan, of the Satans, which are deceivers and accusers. There's an author's note here. There are many meanings of the word Satan, but all indicate great negativity. It can mean one who opposes, accuses, or deceives. In this case, there is some confusion as to who the Satans are. We are told the fallen angels taught men to war, but we're also told that it was the children of the angels that were so destructive. We are told that the angels taught men sorcery and spells, but it was the spirits of the Nephilim that went out from their bodies to destroy. Verse 6. And all their powers, the most secret ones, and all the powers of those who practice sorcery, and the power of witchcraft, and the power of those who make molten images for the whole earth. And how silver is produced from the dust of the earth, and how soft metal originates in the earth. For lead and tin are not produced from the earth like the first. It is a fountain that produces them. And an angel stands in it, and that angel is permanent. And after that my grandfather Enoch took hold of me by my hand and lifted me up, and said to me, go, for I have asked the Lord of spirits about this disturbance on the earth. He said to me, because of their unrighteousness, their judgment has been determined, and shall not be withheld by me forever. Because of the sorceries which they have searched out and learned, the earth and those who dwell on it shall be destroyed. And from these they have no place of repentance forever, because they have shown them what was hidden, and they are the damned. But as for you, my son, the Lord of spirits knows that you are pure and guiltless of this reproach concerning the secrets. And he has destined your name to be among the holy, and will preserve you among those who dwell on the earth, and has destined your righteous seed, both for kingship and for great honors. And from you and from your seed shall proceed a fountain of the righteous and holy, excuse me, without number forever. And after that he showed me the angels of punishment who are prepared to come and let loose all the powers of the waters which are beneath in the earth, in order to bring judgment and destruction on all who dwell on the earth. And the Lord of spirits gave commandment to the angels who were going out, that they should not cause the waters to rise, but should hold them in check, for those angels were in charge of the forces of the waters. And I went away from the presence of Enoch. And in those days the word of God came to me, and he said to me, Noah, your lot has come up before me, a lot without blame, a lot of love and righteousness. And now the angels are making a wooden structure. And when they have completed that task, I will place my hand on it and preserve it. I will keep it safe. And there shall come out of it the seed of life, and a change shall set in so that the earth will not remain without inhabitants. And I will establish your seed before me forever and ever, and I will spread abroad those who dwell with you, and the face of the earth will be fruitful. They shall be blessed and multiply on the earth in the name of the Lord. And he will imprison those angels who have shown unrighteousness in that burning valley which my grandfather Enoch had formerly shown to me in the west, among the mountains of gold and silver and iron and soft metal and tin. And I saw that valley in which there was a great earthquake and a tidal of waves of waters. And when all this took place, from that fiery molten metal and from the convulsion thereof in that place, there was a smell of sulfur produced, and it was connected with those waters. In that valley of angels who had led mankind astray burned beneath that ground. And there were streams of fire throughout the valley, where these angels are punished, who had led astray those who dwell on the earth. But those waters shall in those days serve for the kings and the mighty and the exalted, and those who dwell on the earth, for the healing of the body, but for the punishment of the spirit. Their spirit is full of lust, that they will be punished in their body, for they have denied the Lord of spirits. They will see their punishment daily, and yet they believe not in his name. There will be a relationship between the punishment and change, as their bodies burn. A change will take place in their spirit forever and ever. For before the Lord of spirits, none shall utter an idle word. For the judgment shall come on them, because they believed in the lust of their body and denied the Spirit of the Lord. And the waters will change in those days. For when those angels are punished in these waters, the springs shall change. And when the angels ascend, this water of the springs shall change their temperature and become cold. And I heard Michael answering and saying, This judgment in which these angels are judged is a testimony for the kings and the mighty who possess the earth. Because these waters of judgment minister to the healing of the body of the kings and the lust of their bodies. Therefore they will not see and will not believe that those waters will change and become a fire which burns forever. And after that my grandfather Enoch gave me the explanations of all the secrets in the book of the parables, which had been given to him, and he put them together for me in the words of the book of the parables. And on that day Michael answered Raphael and said, The power of the Spirit grips me and makes me tremble because of the severity of the judgment of the secrets and the judgment of the angels. Who can endure the severe judgment which has been executed, and before which they melt away? And Michael answered again and said to Raphael, Who would not have a softened heart concerning it, and whose mind would not be troubled by this judgment against them because of those who have led them out? And it came to pass when he stood before the Lord of spirits, Michael said thus to Raphael, I will not defend them under the eye of the Lord, for the Lord of spirits has been angry with them because they act as if they were the Lord. Therefore all that is hidden shall come on them forever and ever, for no other angel or man shall have his portion in this judgment, but they alone have received their judgment forever and ever. Okay, let's see. There's a long author's note here I'm looking at, and then it goes to chapter 69. And after this judgment I will terrify and make them tremble, because they have shown this to those who dwell on the earth. And behold the names of those angels. The first of them is Samjaza, the second Artakifa, and the third Arman, the fourth Kokobi, the fifth Turiel, the sixth Rumjal, the seventh Danjal, the eighth Nikel, the ninth Barakel, the 10th Azazel, the 11th Aramos, the 12th Batarel, the 13th. Okay, I'm not going to read all these angels' names. Okay. And these are the chiefs of their angels and their names, and their leaders over hundreds, and leaders over fifties, and leaders over tens. The name of the first, Jacon, that is, the one who led astray the sons of God, and brought them down to the earth, and led them astray through the daughters of men. And the second one was named Asbeel. He imparted to the holy sons of God evil counsel, and led them astray, so that they defiled their bodies with the daughters of men. And the third was named Gadriel. It is he who showed the children of men all the blows of death, and he led astray Eve, and showed the weapons of death to the sons of men, the shield and the coat of mail, and the sword for battle, and all weapons of death to the children of men. And from his hand they have proceeded against those who dwell on the earth from that day and forevermore. And the fourth was named Penimu. He taught the children of men the bitter and the sweet, and he taught them all the secrets of their wisdom. And he instructed mankind in writing with ink and paper, and therefore many sinned from eternity to eternity until this day. For men were not created for the purpose of confirming their good faith with pen and ink. Let's see. For men were created exactly like the angels, to the intent that they should continue pure and righteous, and death, which destroys everything, should not have taken hold of them. But through this, their knowledge, they are perishing, and through this power consumes them. And the fifth was named Kazadaja. This is he who showed the children of men all the wicked smitings of spirits and demons, and the smitings of the embryo in the womb, that it may pass away, and the smitings of the soul, the bites of the serpent, and the smitings which befall through the midday heat, the son of the serpent, name Tabet. And this is the task of Casbel, the chief of the oath which he showed to the holy ones when he dwelt high above in glory, and its name is Bika. This angel requested Michael to show him the hidden name, that he might enunciate in the oath, so that those might quake before that name and oath who revealed all that was in secret to the children of men. And this is the power of his oath, for it is powerful and strong. And he placed this oath, Akai, in the hand of Michael. And these are the secrets of this oath: God's promise and word, that heaven was suspended before the world was created, and forever, and they are strong through his oath, his word, and his promise. And through it, the earth was founded on the water, and from the secret recesses of the mountains come beautiful waters, from the creation of the world into eternity. And through that oath the sea was created, and its foundation he set for it, the sand against the time of its anger, that it dare not pass beyond it, from the creation of the world to eternity. And through that oath are the depths made fast, and abide, and stir not from their place, from eternity to eternity. And through that oath the sun and moon complete their course, and deviate not from their ordinance from eternity to eternity. And through that, the oath, the stars complete their course, and he calls them by their names, and they answer him from eternity to eternity. And in like manner, the spirits of the water, and of the winds, and of all kinds of spirits in their paths from all the quarters of the winds respond to his command. And there are preserved the voices of the thunder, and the light, and of lightning. And there are preserved the storehouses of the hail, and the storehouses of the hoarfrost, and the storehouses of the mist, and the storehouses of the rain and the dew. And all these believe and give thanks before the Lord of spirits, and glorify him with all their power. And their food is in every act of thanksgiving. They thank and glorify and exalt the name of the Lord of spirits forever and ever. And this oath is mighty over them, and through it they are preserved, and their paths are preserved, and their course is not destroyed. And there was great joy among them. They blessed and glorified and exalted, because the name of that Son of Man has been revealed to them. And he sat on the throne of his glory, and the sum of judgment was given to the Son of Man. And he caused the sinners and all those who led the world astray to pass away and be destroyed from off the face of the earth. They shall be bound with chains and shut up and imprisoned in their place of assembly, and all their works vanished from the face of the earth. And from that time forward there shall be nothing corruptible, for that Son of Man has appeared, and has seated himself on the throne of his glory. And all evil shall pass away before his face. And the word of that Son of Man shall go out and be strong before the Lord of spirits. Excuse me. And it came to pass after this, that during his lifetime his name was raised up to the Son of Man, and to the Lord of spirits from among those who dwell on the earth. And he was raised aloft on the chariots of the Spirit, and his name vanished among them. And from that day I was no longer numbered among them. And he placed me between the two winds, between the north and the west, where the angels took the cords to measure the place for the elect and righteous for me. And there I saw the first. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of a break here, get a drink, and you all go do what you do. About a 2-minute break here, okay? Okay, guys. All right. We are on chapter 70. And it came to pass after this that during his lifetime his name was raised up to the Son of Man, and to the Lord of spirits from among those who dwell on the earth. And he was raised aloft on the chariots of the Spirit. His name vanished among them. And from that day I was no longer numbered among them. Am I repeating myself? I think I am. Okay, chapter 71, sorry. This, that my spirit was translated, carried off, and it ascended into heaven. And I saw the sons of the holy angels of God. They were walking on flames of fire. Their garments were white, and their faces shone like snow. And I saw 2 rivers of fire, and the light of the fire shone like HYACINTH. And I fell on my face before the Lord of spirits. And the angel Michael, one of the archangels, seized me by my right hand and lifted me up and led me out into all the secrets. And he showed me all the secrets of righteousness. And he showed me all the secrets of the ends of heaven, and all the storehouses of all the stars, and all the lights, from where they proceed before the face of the holy ones. And he translated and carried my spirit into heaven of heavens. And I saw there as it were built of crystals, and between those crystals tongues of living fire. My spirit saw a circle of fire binding around the house of fire, and on its 4 sides were rivers full of living fire, and they encircled that house. And round about were seraphim, cherubim, and ophanim, and these are all they who never sleep, and they guard the throne of his glory. And I saw angels who could not be counted, 1,000 thousands, and 10,000 times 10,000, encircling that house. And Michael and Raphael and Gabriel and Phanuel and the holy angels who were in heaven above go in and out of that house. And they came out from that house, and Michael and Gabriel, Raphael and Phanuel, and many holy angels without number. And with them the head of days, his head white and pure as wool, and his raiment indescribable. And I fell on my face, and my whole body melted, and my spirit was transformed, transfigured. And I cried with a loud voice in the spirit of power, and I blessed and glorified and exalted. I just got goosebumps all over my body when I read that verse, you all. Oh, it's crazy. Whew. And these blessings which came from my mouth were very pleasing before that head of days. And the head of days came with Michael and Gabriel, Raphael and Phanuel, and thousands and 10,000s of angels without number. And the angel came to me and greeted me with his voice, and said to me, This is the Son of Man who is born to righteousness, and righteousness abides over him, and the righteousness of the head of days forsakes him not. And he said to me, He proclaims to you peace in the name of the world to come. For from there peace has proceeded since the creation of the world, and it shall be with you forever and ever and ever. And all shall walk in his ways, since righteousness never forsook him. Their dwelling place shall be with him, and it will be their heritage, and they shall not be separated from him forever and ever and ever. And so there shall be the length of days with the Son of Man, and the righteous shall have peace and upright away in the name of the Lord of spirits forever and ever. The book of the courses of the luminaries of heaven, the relations of each, according to their name, origin, and months, dominion, and seasons, which Uriel, the holy angel who is with me, who is their guide, showed me. And he showed me all their laws and regulations exactly as they are, and how it is with each of the years of the world into eternity, until the new creation is accomplished, which endures until eternity. And this is the first law of the luminaries. The luminary, the sun, has its rising in the eastern doors of heaven, and its setting in the western doors of heaven. And I saw 6 doors in which the sun rises, and 6 doors in which the sun sets, and the moon rises and sets in these doors. And the leaders of the stars, and whom they lead, 6 in the east and 6 in the west, all following each other in accurately corresponding order. There were also many windows to the right and left of these doors. And first there goes out the great luminary named the sun, and his spear, which is an orbit, a disk, is like the spear, orbit, and disk of heaven. And he is quite filled with illuminating and heating fire. Excuse me. The chariot on which he ascends, the wind drives, and the sun goes down from heaven and returns through the north in order to reach the east, and is so guided that he comes to the appropriate door and shines in the face of heaven. In this way he rises in the first month in the great door, which is the fourth. And in that fourth door from which the sun rises in the first month are 12 windows, from which proceed a flame when they are opened in their season. When the sun rises in heaven, he comes out through that fourth door, 30 mornings in succession, and sits accurately in the fourth door in the west of heaven. And during this period, the day becomes daily longer, and nights grow shorter to the 13th morning. On that, excuse me, on that day, the day is longer than the night by a ninth part, and the day amounts exactly to 10 parts, and the night to 8 parts. And the sun rises from that fourth door, and sets in the fourth, and returns to the fifth door of the east 30 mornings, and rises from it, and sets in the fifth door. And then the day becomes longer by 2 parts, and amounts to 11 parts, and the night becomes shorter, and amounts to 7 parts. I think I might skip all this part. This is just talking about the sun and the moon and how days and nights are created. Give me just a minute. We'd be reading this forever. I'll just read the author's note here. If the night is 12 parts and the day is 6 parts, the entire 24-hour day is divided into 18 sections of 80 minutes each. Okay, chapter 73, it talks about the moon and the phases of the moon. Chapter 74 talks about the moon and the sun collaborating. Talks about, and if 5 years are added together, the sun has an excess of 30 days, and all the days which accrue to it for 164 days. And the sun and the stars bring in all the years exactly, so that they do not advance or delay their position by a single day to eternity, but complete the years with perfect justice in 364 days. In 3 years, there are 1,092 days, and in 5 years, 1,820 days, so that in 8 years, there are 2,912 days. Chapter 75 goes on to talk about the seasons. Be patient with me, guys. I'm just trying to save us some time here. This is kind of interesting. Chapter 78, and the names of the sun are the following: the first Orjars, and the second Thomas. And the moon has 4 names. The first name is Azanja, the second Ebla, the third Benes, and the fourth Ire. And it talks about their large spears and discs, like the spear and disc of heaven. And the size of the spears of both is alike. So it's saying the moon and the sun are the same size. That's kind of weird. NASA doesn't tell us they're the same size, does it? Here comes my loud mailman. I can always tell when he drops off mail. Isn't that loud? Needs a new muffler or something. Okay. And just talks about when the moon and sun set. Okay, let's start on chapter 79. And now, my son Methuselah, I have shown you everything, and the law of all the stars of heaven is completed. And he showed me all the laws of these for every day, and for every season of every rule, and for every year, and for its going out, and for the order prescribed to it every month and every week. And the waning of the moon, which takes place in the 6th door, for in this 6th door her light is accomplished. And after that there is the beginning of waning. And the waning which takes place in the 1st door in its season, until 177 days are accomplished, calculating according to weeks, 25 weeks and 2 days. She falls behind the sun and the order of the stars exactly 5 days in the course of one period. And when this place which you see has been traversed, such is the picture and sketch of every luminary which Uriel, the archangel, who is their leader, showed to me. And it just talks about information on the storehouses of heaven, the stars, gates, and luminaries. See 2 Enoch. Excuse me. I'm going to go take some allergy medicine. I'll be right back. Thanks, guys. It's not something I have to take every day, but today it's really bad. And in those days the angel Uriel answered and said to me, Behold, I have shown you everything, Enoch, and I have revealed everything to you that you should see, this sun and this moon, and the leaders of the stars of heaven, and all those who turn them, their task, times, and departures. And in the days of the sinners, the years shall be shortened, and their seed shall be tardy on their lands and fields. And all the things on the earth shall alter, and shall not appear in their time. And the rain shall be kept back, and heaven shall withhold it. And in those times the fruits of the earth shall be backward, and shall not grow in their time. And the fruits of trees shall be withheld in their time. And the moon shall alter her customs, and not appear at her time. And in those days the sun shall be seen, and he shall journey in the evening on the extremity of the great chariot in the west, and shall shine more brightly than accords with the order of light. And many rulers of the stars shall transgress their customary order, and these shall alter their orbits and tasks, and not appear at the seasons prescribed to them. Why loud noises when we stream it? I know, right? 2 mail trucks went by. And the whole order of the stars shall be concealed from the sinners, and the thoughts of those on the earth shall err concerning them, and they shall be altered from all their ways. They shall err and take them to be of gods. And evil shall be multiplied on them, and punishment shall come on them as to destroy all. Here comes another mail truck. Hold on. Okay. And he said to me, Enoch, look at these heavenly tablets and read what is written on them, and mark every individual fact. And I looked at the heavenly tablets, and read everything which was written on it, and understood everything, and read the book of all the deeds of mankind, and of all the children of flesh, that shall be on the earth to the end of generations. And I blessed the great Lord of King, of glory forever, in that he has made all the works of the Lord of the world. And I exalted the Lord because of his patience, and blessed him because of the children of men, which are the sons of Abraham. And then I said, Blessed is the man who dies in righteousness and goodness, concerning whom there is no book of unrighteousness written, and against whom no day of judgment shall be found. And the 7 holy ones brought to me and placed me on the earth before the door of my house, and said to me, Declare everything to your son Methuselah, and show to all your children that no flesh is righteous in the sight of the Lord, for he is their creator. For 1 year we will leave with you, with your son, until you give your last commands, that you may teach your children and record it for them, and testify to all your children, and in the 2nd year they shall take you from their midst. Let your heart be strong, for the good shall proclaim righteousness to the good. The righteous shall rejoice with the righteous, and shall wish one another well. But the sinners shall die with the sinners, and the apostate shall go down with the apostate. And those who practice righteousness shall die on account of the deeds of men, and be taken away on account of the deeds of the godless. And in those days they finished speaking to me, and I came to my people, blessing the Lord of the world. And now, my son, Methuselah, all these things I am recounting to you and writing down for you. And I have revealed to you everything, and given you books concerning all these. So, my son Methuselah, preserve the books from your father's hand, and see that you deliver them to the generations of the world. I have given wisdom to you and to your children, and those children to come, that they may give it to their children for generations. This wisdom, namely, that passes their understanding. And those who understand it shall not sleep, but shall listen, that they may learn this wisdom, and it shall please those that eat thereof better than good food. Blessed are all the righteous. Blessed are those who walk in the way of righteousness, and sin not as the sinners. In the numbering of all their days in which the sun traverses heaven, entering into and departing from the doors for 30 days with the heads of thousands of the order of the stars, together with the four which are within the calendar, which divide the 4 portions of the year, which lead them and enter with them 4 days. Owing to them, men shall be at fault and not count them in the whole number of days of the year. Men shall be at fault and not recognize them accurately, for they belong to the calculations of the year and are truly recorded therein forever. One in the first door, and one in the third, and one in the fourth, and one in the sixth. So it skipped the fifth. And the year is completed in 364 days. And the account of its accurate and recorded counting thereof is exact. For the luminaries and months and festivals and years and days has Uriel shown and revealed to me, to whom the Lord of the whole creation of the world hath subjected the host of heaven. And he has his power over night and day, and in heaven to cause the light to shine on men via the sun, moon, and stars, and all the powers of heaven which revolve in their circular chariots. And these are the orders of the stars, which set in their places, and in their seasons and festivals and months. And these are the names of those who lead them, who watch that they enter at their times in their orders, in their seasons, in their months, and in their periods of dominion, and in their positions. There are 4 leaders who divide the 4 parts of the year, enter first, and after them 12 leaders of the orders who divide the months. And for 360 days there are heads over thousands who divide the days. And for the 4 days in the calendar there are the leaders which divide the 4 parts of the year. Okay, let's get into the calendar. There's an author's note here. The seasons are 91 days each. There are 4 seasons. The years is 91 times 4, or 364 days. We warned to calculate the years correctly in order to celebrate the holy days on the days that they were meant to be honored. Descriptions of the seasons are given along with the angels who control them. Visions. And now, my son, Methuselah, I will show you all my visions which I have seen, recounting them before you. I saw 2 visions before I got married. I took a wife, and the one was quite unlike the other. The first when I was learning to write, and the second before I married your mother, was when I saw a terrible vision. And regarding them I prayed to the Lord. I had laid down in the house of my grandfather Mahakalol, when I saw the vision, how heaven collapsed and was carried off, removed, torn down, and fell to the earth. And when it fell to the earth, I saw how the earth was swallowed up in a great abyss, and the mountains were suspended on mountains, and hills sank down on hills, and high trees were ripped from their stems, and hurled down and sunk in the abyss. And then a word fell into my mouth, and I lifted up my voice to cry aloud and said, The earth is destroyed, And my grandfather, Mahathalel, woke me as I lay near him and said to me, "Why do you cry so, my son? And why do you make such moaning?" And I recounted to him the whole vision which I had seen. And he said to me, "You have seen a terrible thing, my son. Your dream, your vision, is of the grave time and concerns the secrets of all the sin of the earth. It must sink into the abyss and be totally destroyed. And now, my son, arise and pray to the Lord of glory, since you are a believer, that a remnant may remain on the earth, and that he may not destroy the whole earth. My son, from heaven all this will come on the earth, and on the earth there will be great destruction." After that I arose and prayed and implored and besought God, and wrote down my prayer for the generations of the world. And I will show everything to you, my son Methuselah. And when I had gone out below and seen the heaven, and the sun rising in the east, and the moon setting in the west, and a few stars, and the whole earth, and everything as he had known it in the beginning, then I blessed the Lord of judgment, and exalted him, because he had made the sun go out from the windows of the east. And he ascended and rose on the face of heaven, and set out and kept traversing the path shown to it. There's an author's note here. It says, "The first vision would seem to foreshadow the flood, but since the vision was of a piece of heaven breaking off and falling to the earth with a destructive force, it may be an end-time prophecy of a meteor strike. Another, more timely interpretation is that of Satan falling to earth, which is the beginnings of sorrow." Chapter 84. And I lifted up my hands in righteousness, and blessed the Holy and Great One, and spoke with the breath of my mouth, and with the tongue of flesh, which God has made for the children of the flesh of men, that they should speak therewith. And he gave them breath, and a tongue, and a mouth, that they should speak therewith. Blessed be you, O Lord, King, great and mighty in your greatness, Lord of the whole creation of heaven, King of kings, and God of the whole world. And your power and kingship and greatness abide forever and ever. And throughout all generations, your dominion, and all heavens, your throne forever. And the whole earth, your footstool forever and ever. For you have made, and you rule all things, and nothing is too hard for you. Wisdom never departs from the place of your throne, nor turns away from your presence. You know and see and hear everything, and there is nothing hidden from you, for you see everything. And now the angels of your heavens are guilty of trespass, and on the flesh of men abide your wrath until the great day of judgment. And now, O God and Lord and great King, I implore and beseech you to fulfill my prayer, to leave me a prosperity on earth, and not destroy all the flesh of man, and make the earth without inhabitant, so that there should be an eternal destruction. And now, my Lord, destroy from the earth the flesh which has aroused your wrath, but the flesh of righteousness and uprightness establish as an eternal plant, bearing seed forever, and hide not your face from the prayer of your servant, O Lord." Excuse me. And after this I saw another dream, and I will show the whole dream to you, my son. And Enoch lifted up his voice, and spoke to his son Methuselah, "I will speak to you, my son, hear my words. Incline your ear to the dream and vision of your father. Before I married and took your mother Edna, I saw in a vision on my bed, and behold, a bull came out from the earth, and that bull was white. After it it came out a heifer, and along with this later came out two more bulls, one of them black and the other red. And that black bull gored the red one, and pursued him over the earth. And then I could no longer see that red bull, but the black bull grew, and that heifer went with him. And I saw that many oxen proceeded from him, which resembled and followed him. And that cow, the first one, went from the presence of that first bull in order to seek the red one, but found him not, and mourned with a great lamentation, and sought him. And I looked until that first bull came to her and she cried no more. She bore another white bull, and after him she bore many bulls and black cows. And I saw in my sleep that white bull likewise grew and became a great white bull, and from him proceeded many white bulls, and they resembled him. And they began to father many white bulls, which resembled them, one following another. And again I looked with my eyes as I slept, and I saw the heaven above, and behold, a star fell from heaven, and it arose and ate and pastured among those oxen. And after that I saw the large and the black oxen, and behold, they all changed their stalls and pastures and their heifers, and began to live with each other. And again I saw in the vision, and looked towards heaven, and behold, I saw many stars descend and cast themselves down from heaven to that first star, and they became bulls among those cattle, and pastured with them. And I looked at them and saw that they all let out their private and sexual members like horses, and began to mount the cows of the bulls. And they all became pregnant and bore elephants, camels, and asses. Wow. There's an author's note here. The book of Jubilees indicates that the offspring of the angels and women were somehow different, and that they are divided into categories of the Nephilim, depending on the transliteration. The giants and the Elo. Nephil are mentioned, but this is singular of Nephilim. The word Nephil means the fallen. There is no indication as to the meaning of Elio, but the word would indicate that these are all godlings and are likely those referred to the book of Genesis as men of renown. Excuse me. And all the bulls feared them and were frightened of them, and began to bite with their teeth and to devour, and to gore with their horns. And moreover, they began to devour those oxen, and behold, all the children of the earth began to tremble and shake before them, and to flee from them. And again I saw how they began to gore each other and to devour each other, and the earth began to cry aloud. And I raised my eyes again to heaven, and I saw in the vision, and behold, there came out from heaven beings who were like white men, and 4 went out from that place, and 3 others with them. And those 3 had come out last. They grasped me by my hand and took me up, away from the generations of the earth, and raised me up to a high place, and showed me a tower raised high above the earth, and all the hills were lower. And one said to me, "Remain here until you see everything that befalls those elephants, camels, and asses, and the stars and the oxen, and all of them." And I saw one of those 4 who had came out first, and he seized that first star which had fallen from heaven, and bound it hand and foot, and cast it into the abyss. Now that abyss was narrow and deep and horrible and dark. And one of them drew a sword, and gave it to those elephants and camels and asses. Then they began to smite each other, and the whole earth shook because of them. And I was beholding in the vision one of those 4 who had come out stoned them from heaven, and gathered and took all the great stars whose private sexual members were like those of horses, and bound them all hand and foot, and threw them in the abyss of the earth. I'm going to go ahead and read this author's note. One must smile at the idea of the angels having penises and the size of horses. In the ancient mind, this was one reason some of the women gave in so easily. If a spiritual creature is determined to become corporal, Why not create a body that will fulfill the lust that drives one into carcinate in the first place? That's kind of interesting. And one of those four went to that white bull and instructed him in a secret, and he was terrified. He was born a bull and became a man, and built for himself a great vessel and dwelt on it. And the three bulls dwelt with him in the vessel, and they were covered over. And again I raised my eyes toward heaven and saw a high roof, with 7 water torrents on it. And those torrents flowed with much water into an enclosure. And I looked again, and behold, fountains were opened onto the surface of that great enclosure. And the waters began to bubble and swell and rise on the surface. And I saw that enclosure until all its surface was covered with water. And the water, the darkness, the mist increased on it. And as I looked at the height of that water, the water had risen above the height of the enclosure, and was streaming over the enclosure, and it stood on the earth. And all the cattle of the enclosure were gathered together, until I saw how they sank, and were swallowed up and perished in that water. But that vessel floated on the water, while all the oxen and elephants and camels and asses sunk to the bottom with all the other animals, so that I could no longer see them, and they were not able to escape, but perished and sank into the depths. And again I watched in the vision until those water torrents were removed from that high roof, and the chasms of the earth were leveled up, and other abysses were opened. Then the water began to run down into the abysses, until the earth became visible. But that vessel settled on the earth, and the darkness retired, and light appeared. Excuse me. But that white bull, which had become a man, came out of that vessel, and the 3 bulls with him. And one of those 3 was white like that bull, and one of them was red as blood, and one black, and the white bull departed from them. I'm going to go ahead and read this author's note on here. Here we have the story of Noah and the flood. The flood came because of the sins of the watchers and their offspring, who began killing everything. The flood cleansed the earth and left only the sons of Noah and their wives to repopulate. The story seems to indicate that the various races of the world, white, red, and black, began with the sons of Noah. And they began to bring out beasts of the field and birds, so that there arose different genera: lions, tigers, wolves, dogs, hyenas, wild boars, foxes, squirrels, swine, falcons, vultures, kites, eagles, and ravens. And among them was born a white bull. And they began to bite one another. But that white bull which was born among them fathered a wild ass, and a white bull with it, and the wild asses multiplied. But that bull which was born from him fathered a black wild boar, and a white sheep. And the former fathered many boars, but the sheep gave birth to 12 sheep. And the author's note here says, Abraham gave birth to Ishmael, the wild ass, and Isaac, the white bull. Isaac fathered a boar, Esau, and a sheep, Jacob. Jacob had 12 sheep, who are the 12 patriarchs, and the beginning of the 12 tribes. So that's interesting. And when those 12 sheep had grown, they gave up one of them to the asses. The asses again gave up the sheep to the wolves, and that sheep grew up among the wolves. I would have a whole lot of trouble knowing what these parables meant. And the Lord brought the 11 sheep to live with it, and to pasture with it among the wolves, that they multiplied and become many flocks of sheep. I'm going to skip these verses. I'll read you the author's note here. It's talking about the Israelites escaped. They passed through the divided sea, but the Egyptians were covered by the water and drowned. Now we begin the story of Moses and the ascent up the mountain, where God gave him the 10 Commandments. And the sheep ascended to the summit of that high rock, and the Lord of the sheep sent it to them. And after that I saw the Lord of the sheep who stood before them. All those sheep feared and trembled because of him, and they cried to that sheep which was among them, "We are not able to stand before our Lord, or to behold him." And that sheep which led them again ascended to the summit of that rock. But the sheep began to be blinded, and to wander from which the way he had shown them. But that sheep did not realize it. When Moses had come down from the mountain, he had discovered a large group of Israelites that had made a golden calf idol and were worshiping it. And the Lord of the sheep was angry with them. And that sheep discovered it, and went down from the mountain of the summit of the rock, and came to the sheep, and found the greatest part of them blinded and fallen away. And when they saw it, they feared and trembled at his presence, and desired to return their folds. And that sheep took other sheep with it. And it came to those sheep which had fallen away, and began to slay them. And the sheep feared its presence, and thus that the sheep brought back those sheep that had fallen away, and they returned it to their folds. And I saw in this vision, until that sheep became a man, and built a house for the Lord of the sheep, and placed all the sheep in that house. And I saw until this sheep which had met the sheep which led them fell asleep and died. And I saw until all the great sheep perished, and little ones arose in their place. And they came to a pasture, and approached a stream of water. Then that sheep, their leader, which had become a man, withdrew from them, and fell asleep and died. And all the sheep looked for it, sought after it, and cried over it with a great crying. And I saw until they left off crying for that sheep, and crossed that stream of water. And there arose the two sheep as leaders in the place of those which had led them fallen and asleep. And I saw until the sheep came to a good place, and a pleasant and glorious land. And I saw until those sheep were satisfied, and that house stood among them in the green, pleasant land. Here's an author's note. After Moses died and the two spies were sent into the promised land to bring back a report, Joshua took over and led the Israelites into the promised land. And sometimes their eyes were opened, and sometimes blinded, until another sheep arose and led them, and brought them all back, and their eyes were opened. And the dogs and the foxes and the wild boars began to devour those sheep, until the Lord of the sheep raised up another sheep, a ram from their midst, which led them. And that ram began to butt on either sides of the dogs, foxes, and wild boars, until he had destroyed them all. And then the author says, this is the succession of the judges and kings leading up to David. All of them had to fight the surrounding nations. And that sheep whose eyes were opened saw that ram, which was among the sheep, until it forsook its glory, and began to butt those sheep, and trampled on them, and behaved itself unseemly. And the Lord of the sheep sent the lamb to another lamb, and raised it to being a ram and the leader of the sheep, instead of that ram which had forsaken its glory. And it went to it and spoke to it alone, and raised it to being a ram, and made it the prince and leader of the sheep. But during all these things those dogs oppressed the sheep. And the first ram pursued the second ram, and the second ram arose and fled before it. And I saw until those dogs pulled down the first ram. All right, I'm going to skip this part. Verse 50 is referencing to Elijah. And one of them was saved and was not slain, and it sped away and cried aloud over the sheep. And they sought to slay it, but the Lord of the sheep saved it from the sheep, and brought it up to me, and caused it to live there. And many other sheep he sent to those sheep to testify to them and lament over them. And after that I saw that when they forsook the house of the Lord, his tower, they fell away entirely, and their eyes were blinded. And then I saw the Lord of the sheep, how he worked much slaughter among them and their herds, until those sheep invited that slaughter and betrayed his place. Basically, what I'm skipping is Ezra, Haggai, and Zechariah returned and wrote the books of the Old Testament. And that basically summarizes everything that I just skipped. Chapter 90. And I saw until that in this matter 35 shepherds undertook the pasturing of the sheep, and they completed their periods as did the first. And others received them into their hands to pasture them for their period, each shepherd in his own period. And after that I saw in my vision all the birds of heaven coming, the eagles, the vultures, the kites, the ravens. But the eagles led all the birds, and they began to devour the sheep, and to pick out their eyes, and devour their flesh. And the author's note here, now the eagle, which is Roman, appears from among the nations. Let's see. I'm going to skip all this, which has parables, because it's very, very hard to understand. It's talking about the 70 appointed religious leaders throughout the time. 58 have passed. Verse 6 introduces the essences. Verse 8 probably refers to John the Baptist. So these are basically just corresponding with other Bible verses. So I'm going to wait and give me just a minute, because I'm going to read something we haven't read before. Okay, I'm going to start at chapter 91, the book of warnings and blessings of Enoch. And now, my son Methuselah, call to me all your brothers, and gather together to me all the sons of your mother. For the word calls me, and the Spirit is poured out on me, that I may show you everything that shall befall you forever. And thereon Methuselah went and summoned to him all his brothers, and assembled his relatives. And he spoke to all the children of righteousness, and said, hear you, sons of Enoch, all the words of your father, and hearken, as you should, to the voice of my mouth. For I exhort you, and say to you, beloved, love righteousness and walk in it, and draw near to righteousness, without a double heart, and do not associate with those of a double heart, but walk in righteousness, my sons, and it shall guide you on to good paths, and righteousness shall be your companion. For I know that violence must increase on this earth, and a great punishment will be executed on the earth. It shall be cut off from its roots, and the whole construct will be destroyed. And unrighteousness shall again be complete on the earth, and all the deeds of the unrighteousness and of violence and sin shall prevail a second time. And when sin and unrighteousness and blasphemy and violence and all kinds of deeds increase, and apostasy and transgression and uncleanness increase, a great chastisement shall come from heaven on all these. And the Holy Lord will come out with wrath and chastisement to execute judgment on the earth. In those days violence shall be cut off from its roots, and the roots of unrighteousness together with deceit, and they shall be destroyed from under heaven. And all the idols of the heathen shall be abandoned, and the temples burned with fire, and they shall remove them from the whole earth, and the heathen shall be cast into the judgment of fire, and shall perish in wrath, and in grievous judgment forever. And the righteous shall rise from their sleep, and wisdom shall arise and be given to them. And after that, the roots of unrighteousness, and those who plan violence, and those who commit blasphemy shall be cut off, and the sinners shall be destroyed by the sword. And after this, there will be another week, the 8th, that of righteousness, and a sword will be given to it, so that the righteous judgment may be executed on those who do wrong, and the sinners will be handed over into the hands of the righteous. And at its end, they will acquire houses because of their righteousness, and a house will be built for the great King in glory forever. And after this, in the 9th week, the righteous judgment will be revealed to the whole world, and all the deeds of the impious will vanish from the whole earth, and the world will be written down for destruction, and all men will look to the path of uprightness. And after this, in the 10th week, in the 7th part, there will be an eternal judgment that will be executed on the watchers, and the great eternal heaven that will spring from the midst of the angels. Oh, you're fine. Okay. It's all good. Okay. Verse 16. And the first heaven will vanish and pass away, and a new heaven will appear, and all the powers of heaven will shine forever, with light 7 times as bright. And after this, there will be many weeks without number, forever in goodness and in righteousness. And from then on, sin will never again be mentioned. And I tell you, my sons, and show you the paths of righteousness and the paths of violence. I will show them to you again, that you may know what will come to pass. And now hearken to me, my sons, and walk in the paths of righteousness, and walk not in the paths of violence. For all those who walk in the paths of unrighteousness shall perish forever. Chapter 92. Let me take a drink real quick. The book written by Enoch. Enoch indeed wrote this complete doctrine of wisdom, which is praised of all men and a judge of all the earth. For all my children who shall live on the earth, and for the future generations who shall observe righteousness and peace. Let your from sleep, and walk in the paths of righteousness, and all his path and conversation shall be in eternal goodness and grace. He will be gracious to the righteous and give him eternal righteousness, and he will give him power so that he shall be endowed with goodness and righteousness, and he shall walk in eternal light. And sin shall perish in darkness forever, and shall no more be seen from that day forevermore. And after that, Enoch both gave and began to recount from the books. And Enoch said, concerning the children of righteousness, and concerning the elect of the world, and concerning the plant of righteousness, I will speak these things. I, Enoch, will declare them to you, my sons, according to that which appeared to me in the heavenly vision, and which I have known through the word of the holy angels, and have learned from heavenly tablets. And Enoch began to recount from the books and said, I was born the 7th in the 1st week. Able judgment and righteousness still endured. And an author's note here just says, Enoch was the 7th son. He was born in the beginning of the timeline he is laying out. And after me there shall arise in the 2nd week great wickedness, and deceit shall have sprung up, and in it there shall be the first end. now fallen. And in it a man shall be saved, and after it is ended, unrighteousness shall grow up, and a law shall be made for the sinners. And after that, in the third week, at its close, a man shall be elected as the plant of righteous judgment, and his posterity shall become the plant of righteousness forevermore. And it's basically talking about the time of Moses and the establishment of the Ten Commandments, the beginning of the law. And after that, in the fourth week, at its close, visions of the holy and righteous shall be seen, and a law for all generations, and an enclosure shall be made for them. This is the time of David and the wars that define the Holy Land. And after that, in the fifth week, at its close, the house of glory and dominion shall be built forever. This concerns the time of Solomon and the first temple. And after that, in the sixth week, all who live in it shall be blinded, and the hearts of all them shall godlessly forsake wisdom. And in it a man shall ascend, and at its close the house of dominion shall be burned with fire, and the whole race of the chosen root shall be dispersed. It's basically talking about in the 6 weeks. In the sixth week, Christ came to the chosen ones, but they were blinded. He ascended, and the Jewish nation was scattered. In the Holocaust, innumerable Jews were burned. The remains scattered, but has begun to gather into the new nation of Israel. And after that, in the seventh week, shall an apostate generation arise, and many shall be its deeds, and all its deeds shall be apostate. And it's talking about the seventh week of Enoch's prophecy. It aligns in a very general way to the prophecies of the churches in Revelation. And at the end of the seventh week, there will be a great falling away. And what I just read is referencing Revelation 2. And at its end shall be elected, the elect righteous of the eternal plant of righteousness shall be chosen, to receive sevenfold instruction concerning all his creation. For who is there of all the children of men that is able to hear the voice of the Holy One without being troubled? And who can think his thoughts? Who is there that can behold all the works of heaven? And how should there be one who could behold of heaven? And who is there that could understand the things of heaven, and see a soul or a spirit, and could tell of it, or ascend and see all their ends, and think them or do like them? And who is there of all men that could know what is the breadth and the length of the earth? And to whom has the measurement been showed of all them? Or is there anyone who could discern the length of the heaven, and how great is its height, and on what it's founded, and how great is the number of the stars, and where all the luminaries rest? And author's note: in this age of space travel, we have indeed beheld the heavens and measured the number of stars. These are the end times. Okay, I'm going to take just a quick break, guys. And we're going to start on chapter 94. And then we'll probably end there. Okay, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. Let's see. And now I say unto you, my sons, love righteousness and walk in it, because the paths of righteousness are worthy of acceptation, but the paths of unrighteousness shall suddenly be destroyed and vanish. And to certain men of a generation shall the paths of violence and of death be revealed, that they shall hold themselves afar from them, and shall not follow them. And now I say to you, the righteous, walk not in the paths of the wickedness, nor in the paths of death, and draw not near to them, lest you be destroyed. But seek and choose for yourselves righteousness and an elect life, and walk in the paths of peace, and you shall live and prosper. And hold and keep my words in the thoughts of your hearts, and permit them not to be erased from your hearts. For I know that sinners will tempt men to evilly entreat wisdom, so that no place may be found for her, and temptation will increase. Woe to those who build unrighteousness and oppression, and lay deceit as a foundation, for they shall be suddenly overthrown, and they shall have no peace. Woe to those who build their houses with sin, for from all their foundations shall they be overthrown, and by the sword shall they fall. And those who acquire gold and silver shall suddenly perish in judgment. Woe to you, you rich, for you have entrusted in your riches, and from your riches shall you depart, because you have not remembered the Most High in the days of your riches. You have committed blasphemy and unrighteousness, and have become ready for the day of slaughter, and the day of darkness, and the day of great judgment. This I speak and tell you, he who hath created you will overthrow you, and for your fall there shall be no compassion, and your Creator will rejoice at your destruction. And your righteousness shall be a reproach to the sinners and the godless in those days. Chapter 95. Would that my eyes were rain clouds of water, that I might weep over you. That I might bid you to practice reproaches and wickedness, and so judgment shall overtake you, sinners. You righteous, fear not the sinners, for again the Lord will deliver them into your hands, that you may execute judgment on them according to your desires. Woe to you who speak against God, which cannot be removed. Healing shall be far from you because of your sins. Woe to you who repay your neighbor with evil, for you shall be repaid according to your works. Woe to you, lying witnesses, and to those who weigh out injustice, for you shall suddenly perish. Woe to you, sinners, for you persecute the righteous, for you shall be delivered up and persecuted because of injustice, and your yoke shall be heavy on you. Be hopeful, you righteous, for suddenly shall the sinners perish before you, and you shall have lordship over them according to your desires. And in the day of the tribulation of the sinners, your children shall mount and rise as eagles, and your nests shall be higher than of the vultures. You shall ascend as badgers and enter the crevices of the earth, and the clefts of the rock forever, before the unrighteousness. And the satyrs, sirens, shall sigh and weep because of you. Wherefore fear not, you that have suffered, for healing shall be your portion, and a bright light shall enlighten you. and the voice of rest you shall hear from heaven. Woe to you, you sinners! For your riches make you appear like the righteous, but your hearts convict you of being sinners. And this fact shall be a testimony against you for a memorial of your evil deeds. Woe to you who devour the finest of the wheat, and drink wine in large bowls, and tread underfoot the lowly with your might. Woe to you who drink water from every fountain. Drink water all the time, for suddenly shall you be consumed and wither away, because you have forsaken the fountain of life. Woe to you who work unrighteousness and deceit and blasphemy. It shall be a memorial against you for evil. Woe to you, you mighty, who with might oppress the righteous, for the day of your destruction is coming. Many and good days shall come to the righteous in those days, in the day of your judgment. Okay, we're going to stop there, and then we'll resume tomorrow in chapter 97. It's probably going to take me 3 more episodes just to finish the book. How are you all doing? I'm going to go ahead and cut this off, and then I'll be in the chat here. Just want to thank you all for being here. Just know that there's much love from me to you all. God bless, and hopefully I'll be talking to you tomorrow. Have a great day.